sit with me. I never know how these are gonna go. I don't do notes anymore. I stopped doing that about 8 years ago when I started teaching publicly and realized they were more of a handicap for me than anything. So we're just gonna wing this. My name is Audra Littleton. I own Balance Being Holistic Services. It's a home-based private practice in Clayton, Delaware. I also teach publicly several different personal enrichment classes through Kent County Parks and Rec in Dover. I have written 2 books. I have a YouTube channel, and I've been teaching through Kent County about 8 years now. So for those who don't know me, I'll do a little bit of a segue as to how I am where I am. Like everyone else, we all have our stories, we all have our traumas and our hardships. And for the better part of a decade, I suffered with fibromyalgia from my waist down. I couldn't stand for more than about 15-20 minutes without my legs hurting. My soles of my feet felt like I was standing on a bed of nails at any time. Shopping at the outlets with your best friend was very difficult because I couldn't endure that without taking pain medicine. I was riddled with anxiety, which I assumed everybody thought like I did, and it wasn't until much later that I realized I actually had anxiety disorder, where my thoughts would go and go and go and go to the worst case scenario, which always ended in my death or my children's death. I had panic attacks that landed me in the hospital more times than I care to admit. And about, I'm guessing 2011, 2012, I started waking up in the middle of the night and the lower half of my left eye was black. Couldn't see anything out of it. It was just a line across. And the first time that happened, I thought, that's weird. And then went back to bed. And the second time it happened, I mentioned it to my husband the next morning and said, you think I should see a doctor about that? He's, yeah. So I went to the doctor, did the whole rounds of blood work, MRIs, and it turned out that I had white matter in my brain, which is not supposed to be there, and sent me to a neurologist who did the whole body test and determined that I had multiple sclerosis and wanted to do a spinal tap, which I defiantly said I'm getting a second opinion, and because I'm spunky like that. And then the second neurologist also said that I had MS and wanted to do a spinal tap to confirm. So you would not have known that I struggled with what I struggled with because I didn't tell anybody. So no one, not even my best friend, knew that I had fibromyalgia. Only my husband knew about my panic attacks because it's hard to ignore those when you can't breathe with them. But I had always been, if you had known me, oh, Audra's so optimistic, she's so bubbly, fun girl from the South. And when I denied the spinal tap, I told my husband that I know it's my wake-up call. And that my higher self, that part of me that exists in higher states, was kicking me. Like, what are you doing? All of these things escalated into insomnia, bless you. So I couldn't sleep at night, and I was convinced that when I opened my eyes, there'd be a figure in the doorway there to kill me and rape my daughter and murder my son and burn the house down. And my husband, who I joke because he's deaf in one ear, and I said he'd be on his good ear and he wouldn't hear anything. And so, and I remember looking at myself one morning in the mirror after my daughter, who was very young at that time, she's now 16, she was maybe 3rd grade at that time, looking in the mirror, and just like Patricia had said, you don't recognize yourself. Like, who is this person? And I looked at myself in the eye and I said, I am so tired of being this me. And there was something really profound because it felt like something goes boing inside of me, and I thought, well, that's weird. But then I went on about my day, but it was within a week or two, a class came across my lab, my brother started dating a life coach, and all these little things lined up. And the ironic thing is I was already, in 2008, I became a Reiki master. So energy medicine, I became a meditation instructor. So I knew about meditation, but I was busy. And we all know what that's like, is to be busy. I'll get to me, I'll get that. Oh, I forgot to do that, did I do that tomorrow? And it was my wake-up call as to the priority has to be you. You have to, because you cannot serve your truest purpose if you are depleted. And so like that, I started meditating and doing energy work on myself every day. I have since become a specialist in energy psychology and energy medicine. I'm trained in several different modalities. My business card is on your tables. You're welcome to check out my website if you would like to see my credentials. they were just going on. So I'm a student of life, and I like it that way. So I'm always learning. I know in my early part, my family became estranged from me. So right around this health crisis, within a year, my family stopped speaking with me, and that's okay. Because quantum physics would be you can't have opposing vibrations sharing the same space at the same time. So if I'm trying to pull myself into a state of empowerment, I cannot resonate in a field of victim. You cannot be one and the other. You have to pick. You got to pick a side. And no victim is ever empowered. And I'm defiant enough to want to be empowered. So I started watching my thoughts, and this is what meditation really is designed to do. Is to become aware of our thoughts. We focus so much in the Western world on distractions. We all do this. We distract ourselves with other people's problems, with other people's dramas, with other people's policies and the government and the economy and the world and the blah, 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 watching sports and reality TV and all that, and it's all just distractions. And what's interesting is I did not know what I was going to speak about today until I woke up this morning, and I was guided through my own spiritual practices to speak about this, which is kind of funny because it's echoing the same thing that Patricia was talking about. And my guess is this whole day is going to be a lot about cleaning our cup. We are the chalice. We are the cup. And the mind is a beautiful genie in a bottle. It will serve you, but it will also cheat you. And you have to become aware of the brain. The brain is not you. The brain is the computer. And ours are, in the Western world, riddled with viruses, riddled with ego. And we feel a very strong need to be right, to be validated, to be privileged, to have things, to get things. And while we are infinitely worthy, we have to be aware that the ego seduces and validates why we should get this and that person shouldn't, why we're more deserving than that person, why we're better than that person, why they deserve the punishment that's coming to them. It's all ego. That is not a spiritual path. In order to truly serve your highest purpose, you have to become honest with you as a spiritual being. Many people are delusional about their level of spirituality. This is a hard fact that we have to face. None of us have this perfect, myself included. The idea is that we can sit in a meditative state, like the Pythagoreans did thousands of years ago, and contemplate on us and our thoughts. Most people here would say, I want to try to meditate because, but I can't because I got all this stuff going on in my head all the time. Or I really want to meditate because I want to hear angels, or I want to hear my guides. As a meditation instructor, and this is totally worth your ticket. If nothing else you get, I'm telling you something that I do not even tell my advanced students because it's uncomfortable and they're not ready. But the fact of the matter is your brain will give you your visions based on what you already have heard and believe. It will validate your perspective, which will make you think that you're right with your theology or your perspective or your goddess worship or whatever it is that you do. That's the hard fact. In order to really reach that quiet place, that place that is behind all that noise of the higher supreme human, in order to get to that place, you have to work through all of the other crap. Your mind will validate you because it does not want to be wrong. It is more important to work through your character flaws in a meditation and to strive to be a better version of yourself so that when you hear that voice, it may present with you information that you don't like. I don't like, that makes me feel uncomfortable. That's not how I was raised, but it is a truth, a deep spiritual truth. That is how you get to become enlightened. You have to be willing to let go of theologies and ideologies that you have been using so far. Not to say they don't serve a purpose, but understand that our brains, we're only understanding this much, and there is a much vaster perspective to gain. We cannot gain it until we cleanse our cup. We cannot cleanse our cup until we improve our character. Integrity is crucial in living a spiritual life. You cannot, and if there's anyone in this room who does this, I recognize can be painful, but you cannot say you serve a God and do not treat everything in your reality as a projection of it. You cannot. God is everywhere. It is in everyone, even the person you hate. That being is in that person. That animal you eat is God. Is it worth it? That neighbor you hold a grudge to because their fence is 1 foot on your property line, is it worth it? Because those grudges eat you up like cancer. You have to clean your cup. And that means to sit quietly with yourself. Because in the end, you are a soul on an infinite journey by yourself. And that's scary because we like the idea of soul families. We like the ideas of being with people and having these attachments. Every place your soul will travel, there will be others. But when we attach ourselves to those that make us feel comfortable, who's it serving? You're going to stay with me because you make me feel comfortable. Doesn't matter that it's not good for you or that it's hindering me too. We have to be like white blood cells, going where we need to go, serving the purpose we need to serve, healing the places that we need to heal. We cannot do that when we're attached and judgmental and weighed down with distortions and perspectives. We have to be willing to look at ourselves and to look at our actions. And so in meditation, a lot of people, and I've taught thousands of people in this area, thousands. There's a whole lot more of us than what you think. And there is a common theme with people who want to meditate. And they don't realize it, but it is because they want to distract themselves. They want the pretty astral travel. They want the pretty vision of angels. They want the pretty heaven. And while those things are real, you cannot touch them. You cannot, they don't even see you. The higher realms, the immortals, the true ones who have achieved immortality, like the story of Jesus, they won't even see you until you have both refined your virtues and actions based on the virtues. You cannot do a good deed and then gossip about someone. You cannot do a good deed and have hate in your heart for the time that your mom took away your favorite whatever, or your dad made you move across country. You can't. There isn't a God that punishes. I'm sorry, there isn't. What we are and where we're from and the supreme creator is benevolence and peace. That is our truest expression. We hold on to hurts and we hold on to pains because we feel validated. And then we validate the storyline. And then we twist all kinds of things around to make us right. And we wait for that apology. And until we get that validation, until that person suffers for what they did, we won't feel good. What are we doing? That person is God. And so are you. We have to be willing to sit with ourselves and reflect. If you meditate, if you want to start the meditation practice, start here. Don't go into it with the idea of, I want to find out if the dragons are real. I want to see mer people. Or any of these other fantasy-driven ideologies. Again, I'm not knocking that they could exist. I would prefer, however, we as a collective body of humanity work on refining our character. When our integrities are in order, that is where our safety lies. When we're not worried about someone screwing us over because we all have a level of integrity that we never would, we don't need to worry about guns or crime or profiling anyone. We all work together as a collective. When one wins, we all win. When one person is successful, we're all successful. And for each person, but instead, what is our common? One person's successful, we're jealous. Oh, well, you know how she got there. She stuck her way to the top. That's what she did. Wait, not helpful. In the end, everyone is trying to obtain the same thing, which is to be happy. Our brains are fucked up. Pardon my French, but they are. They've got viruses running on, they're rampant, and we are working with ideologies that have been passed down for generations. Some of them archaic, thousands of years ago. Not even relevant. But we're still teaching the same things. We're being raised by broken people who are raised by broken people who are raised by broken people. And at some point, we have to raise kids differently. But at some point, it's got to start somewhere. And it may as well start here. Because for every life, every ripple effect we can make by doing good, we will be tested every single day. Every day we get out of bed, we get challenges. We get in tests. Do you rise to the challenge or do you not? How did you handle the challenge? Could you have done better? We all can do better. I guarantee you. No matter how good you think you are, you're not as good as you can be. And you know it. Deep inside, you know, I could have done that better. I could have said that better. It stings at first, but I guarantee you if you can get past that burn, or at least get comfortable with the burn, it's not so bad. Because it gives you an opportunity to make these huge leaps in integrity and in character. And then these ripple effects all of a sudden begin to be massive in your life. You're running into people who you're smiling to, or opening a door for, or paying the toll for, or forgiving someone. Yes, people are going to hurt you. And yes, we've all had traumas. But in the end, you want to refine your cup. You want to purify it so much so that if that person comes to you at a time of need, you will give to them. Without question, without conditions, because you recognize that they are also God. And it is in everything and everywhere. So with meditation today, I'm just going to bring you into a breathing exercise. And to give you an opportunity to think about something. Maybe it will come up on its own. Maybe you're already thinking about something you should have, would have, could have. But to sit with that thing, whatever it is that you did or didn't do, and work it out. Because when you allow yourself to see yourself neutrally, this is not to bring about judgment of yourself. Damn it, I screwed up again. Dang it, I can't get it right. Oh, I'm such a loser. That's not what that's about. The idea is to look at yourself and say, okay, well, this person triggered me. I got really upset about this person because they said X, Y, Z, or they did X, Y, Z. Why did that make me so mad, though? There's lots of things that I don't get. But I didn't get that thing from that person. Why does that bother me more than not getting something from someone else? What is that about? Or did I contribute anything to that? Was I there for them those couple of years ago when they asked me for something and I said no, so now that I'm asking for something, is it retaliation? Interesting. What can I learn from it? When you allow yourself that neutral ground to reflect, you then allow life to be your teacher, which is exactly what it's supposed to do. We cannot negate the fact that we are here for a bigger purpose, that we are a collective body of humanity, and there is something else grander in store for us. But the reality that you think you see out there is not the reality. It's not. There is a reality, but it's in high heavenly realms. And you cannot get there, even if you take out theology, take out if I believe in this one person or this one idea, or if I follow this one thing, if I do whatever sacrifices, then I'm going to be able to get there. That's not how it works. And I'm sorry, it's not. Even if the angelic realm wanted you there so desperately, which they do, quantum physics, you cannot have opposing vibrations sharing the same space at the same time. How if heaven is a place of love and acceptance and tolerance and beauty and unity? How can you as a soul who is weighed down with hatred and vengeance and guilt and self-hate, how can you even be there? You can't. And they want you there. Because we are part of a divine plan that is playing out. And we have to take our role in it. But we have been floundering as a collective for a very long time and missing the mark. And that's because our egos get in the way. The brain is a beautiful machine, but it is delusional if it's not cleaned first. So please don't go into a meditative practice if your intention is to escape your reality. I've worked with lots of people who do that. Oh, I'm so stressed out at work. I can't take any more of this pressure from the divorce. I'm going to go meditate for 2 hours and get away from it. That's not what meditation is for. You're using it as an addiction, as a crutch. Meditation is to reflect on the problems that you're having and why are you having them and how can you fix them. That's what meditation is for. It's for deep states of contemplation. That's my timer, so I made sure I had the time to lead the meditation. Before we begin, is there any questions, problems, concerns? No? Okay. So, while there are lots of different styles of meditation and poses and mudras, and which are hand positions, and breath techniques and all, the idea is not to clear the mind. And so if you have that idea that I needed to keep my mind from work, that's not what meditation is for. Meditation is to be in quiet mind. Quiet mind does not mean empty mind. It means that you sit at peace with you and your life and your role in your life. And the areas that are problematic, you sit and you contemplate from a neutral perspective, how can I improve this? What has been my role in making this hard on me? How can I make it easier for me? How can I make it easier for others? When you are living from that place, that state of meditation becomes your daily life. And you always have to take my word for that, because it's how it has been for me. By no means am I perfect, but every day I seek to be better. I seek to contribute to the greater good. And then if I happen to get blessed as a little individual, awesome. But if not, that's not my purpose. I'm here for the collective. We all are here for the collective. We just forgot that. We are happiest when we give of ourselves freely. We are happiest when we bring peace to someone else. That's our part. We cannot bring peace to someone else when we are so wrought with self-hate and doubt and vengeance. So we have to work through that and clean that cup. So with this little technique, if you do this every day, 10, 15 minutes, you want to go longer, cool, but shoot for 10 or 15 minutes. Close your eyes. Just sit comfortably. However you'd like to hold your hands is fine. You can put them palm down on your knees, you can put them palm up, it doesn't make a difference. And just take in a nice deep breath. And then release it at your own pace, at what feels good for you. And then another nice deep breath in. And then release it. Continue this and just reflect on how good it feels to breathe. Something so simple and natural and automatic. Something we take for complete granted until we can't get a nice deep breath. And then as you breathe in, imagine breathing in beautiful, glittery gold prana energy. We call it air, but it's prana. It is energy that keeps our bodies working. It nourishes the cells. It runs through the circulatory system. And as you breathe in this beautiful, sparkly stardust, imagine it filling your lungs. And as you exhale, begin to just exhale out the smog. You know what the smog is. Your judgments, your stresses, the things that you can't control. Let those go. We want to hone in on the things that you can control. And we have all heard this. You can only control your response to the things that you perceive in your reality. So the things that Betty shoulda, coulda, woulda, or that Jack shoulda, coulda, woulda, we're going to let those go because you have no control over them. And then with an intention, and you can state it in your mind if it hasn't already come up naturally, ask your mind to show you what is something that I can learn from. Show me something I can learn from that I can do better next time. It may be something you did this morning, it may be something you did 20 years ago. Just bring it up. There's no judgment with this. It might sting. You might feel a ping in your heart. It's okay. Just be with it. Why does it hurt? Why is that uncomfortable? What was my role in that dynamic? Could I have done something different? Could I have said something different? Could I have not said anything at all? Where was it that I lost my peace with that? What can I learn from it? If your answer is you can learn not to trust so-and-so again, that's your ego. That is not that quiet, divine part of you. That little voice that is here to guide us back to unity. Everything that happens to you is happening for you as an opportunity to refine your character, to build your integrity, to do better and better every day, and to recognize you will not be perfect, but perfection is the goal, although never obtainable. What can I learn in this? And then if you realize your part in that distortion that played out, how can I make it right? What will it involve? It may involve having to apologize. It may involve sending a letter. It might involve looking yourself in the mirror and saying you're sorry and meaning it. And if that is complicated for you, then meditate on why is that hard? Why is apologizing hard? Why is loving myself hard? Where does that idea come from? Find its source and heal it through understanding and acceptance. That's all healing is. No soul travels the same path toward its enlightenment. While we can be cheerleaders for one another, we cannot walk it for you. The goal of the collective humanity is to come together. It is to transcend this realm together into higher states. We cannot do that when we're fragmented. We must heal ourselves, clean the cup, and then be the light for the others who are also needing to do the same. And a very real way to do this is through our own character. Recognizing where we're hypocritical, recognizing where we're short, strengthening it. We are stronger as a unit than we are individually. And our society benefits when we all act with a high level of integrity. It is imperative to our survival as a species and in our ascension as a collective spiritual body. When you find the areas that you could have done better with, play it out in your head, learn from it, and then take that knowledge and turn it into wisdom. And share that wisdom with others, and live that wisdom yourself. When you are in alignment with Source, Source is in alignment with you. And the pain that you have, and the things you experience, they dissipate because you're no longer fighting against what you are. When you're ready, take a nice, deep, cleansing breath and open your eyes. the more you apply this technique, this honest technique, the faster you will ascend your thoughts. The quicker you move towards your own enlightenment. It was less than 6 months that all of my fibromyalgia symptoms were gone, that my anxiety was gone. I never had another panic attack. It did a complete reverse in my health, and I remember thinking, like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine getting better than this. And then I got better than that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine feeling better than this. And then I got better than that. And you just keep improving, and there is no limit. True compassion begins to work through you, and you become a vessel for the higher states, the higher realms, and these beings or these consciousnesses utilize you for the greater good. And it's a beautiful, humbling thing. And just like whatever consciousness is utilizing me to speak to you, these are truths. These are universal truths. We have to begin to act within alignment with those truths. Not just on a Sunday for a couple hours, but as a 24-hour a day. It is said that the ancient man did not dream. This is because dreams are just a projection of fears and insecurities. And the ancient man was so connected to what he was and had such a high degree of reverence for all that he saw, all that was surrounded by him. He would never, ever harm for his own gain. And because of that, he had no anxieties. He had no dreams. Our dreams are rampant because we have anxieties and fears and worries. We have to start cleaning our cup. That's it. I hope